makes over 1 billion pounds of cheese every year, enough to fill 2,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools. From big tanks of milk to huge blocks of cheese, the process is huge and careful. But how do they make all that cheese so fast? Back then, cheese was hard to keep fresh. People didn't know how to store it for a long time, so it often went bad before they could eat it. In the late 1800s, a smart man named James L. Kraft wanted to fix this problem. He found a way to make cheese last much longer without going bad. At first, Kraft sold his cheese by going door to door, carrying it in his wagon to local stores. People were surprised that the cheese stayed fresh for weeks. During World War I, Kraft's idea became even more important because soldiers needed food that would not go bad on long trips. Soldiers loved it, and soon everyone else did too. A funny thing is that people didn't know how to say pasteurize. At first, they said it in all sorts of silly ways. But that did not matter because the cheese was so easy to use and tasty. Over time, Kraft's cheese became very popular, and the company grew big enough to make cheese on a huge scale. Today, Kraft cheese is everywhere, from school lunches to giant pizzas, all thanks to one man's smart idea to keep cheese fresh. The first thing you need for cheese is milk. Kraft uses fresh cow's milk, salt for taste, special helpers to turn milk into cheese, starter cultures to make the flavor and texture, and sometimes coloring. These ingredients come in big tanks or bags and are checked carefully. The milk is tested to make sure it is fresh, clean, and has the right amount of fat. Any milk that is not good is thrown out. This makes sure every block of cheese starts the same way. After checking, the milk is warmed a little to the right temperature, and the starter cultures are readied. Salt and other ingredients are measured carefully because small changes can change the taste or feel of the cheese. Following the same recipe every time helps make sure each batch of cheese tastes the same. This step shows how careful work goes into making cheese. Every batch is recorded, including where the milk came from, the measurements, and the temperature. Even the coloring is mixed carefully so each block or slice looks nice. By getting the ingredients ready this way, Kraft makes sure the rest of the process will give cheese that is the same high quality every time. Here's where the magic happens. After the ingredients are ready, the milk is poured into huge tanks that can hold thousands of gallons. The milk is warmed slowly to the right temperature, not too hot and not too cold, because the heat decides how the curds will form and how the cheese will taste. If it gets too warm, the curds can be too soft. If it is too cold, they may not form at all. Workers check the temperature all the time to make sure it is correct. Next, starter cultures and helpers called enzymes are added. The starter cultures are tiny bacteria that change the milk sugar into acids. This gives the cheese its flavor and helps the curds form. The enzymes cut the milk proteins so the curds can form properly. Big mixers stir the milk slowly, making sure every drop is treated the same. Workers watch the tanks carefully, checking thickness, temperature, and smell to make sure everything is going right. As the milk is stirred and warmed, the curds slowly form and separate from the whey, the watery part of the milk. The curds are soft and sticky at first, but need to be firm enough for the next step. Workers sometimes check the curds by hand to see if they are ready. This step is very important because it decides the cheese's taste, feel, and smoothness. If it is done wrong, the cheese could be too soft, too dry, or not taste right. By being careful here, Kraft makes sure every batch will turn into smooth, tasty cheese later. Once the curds are ready, the first step is cutting. The curds are soft and sticky, and big machines with wires or blades cut them into smaller pieces. Cutting helps take out extra liquid and makes the curds easier to handle. The size of the curds is important, too small, and the cheese can be dry, too big, and it can stay too soft. Workers carefully set the machines to get the right size for each batch. After cutting, the curds move into large presses. These presses push down slowly to remove more liquid and shape the curds into blocks. Some presses can handle hundreds of pounds at a time. Workers watch closely and adjust the pressure and time depending on the type of cheese being made. Pressing also helps the cheese get the right feel and texture. Taking out the whey makes the cheese firmer while keeping enough moisture so it stays smooth. Workers sometimes check the curds by hand to see if they are firm enough. If pressing is too light, the cheese can fall apart too hard and it becomes dry and tough. Careful cutting and pressing make sure the cheese will have the right texture, smoothness, and taste before it moves on to cooking, shaping, and packing. After the curds are pressed, they are moved into big kettles that hold thousands of pounds at a time. The curds are heated slowly, so they start to melt and mix together evenly. The heat is very important. Too hot, and the cheese can burn or get dry. Too low, and the curds may not melt right. Workers check the heat all the time to make sure it stays steady. Big machines stir the curds slowly and all the time, so every piece melts the same and nothing sticks to the bottom. Some machines can handle up to 33,000 pounds of cheese in 1 hour. Workers also watch the color and smell to make sure the cheese tastes right. If the cheese is not stirred enough, lumps can form, or some parts may cook more than others, which changes the texture. During cooking, workers sometimes check the cheese by hand or with simple tools to make sure it is soft and smooth. This is also when extra salt or flavor can be added if needed. This step is very important because it gives Kraft cheese its creamy feel and steady taste. Careful heating and stirring makes sure every batch, whether sliced, shredded, or in blocks, comes out smooth, creamy, and ready for shaping and packing. After the cheese is cooked and melted, it is shaped into the right form. Depending on the type, the cheese is cut into slices, poured into molds for blocks, or shredded into bags. This shaping is very important because it decides how the cheese will look, feel, and be used. Slices need to be the same size so they fit in sandwiches, and shredded cheese must be even so it melts well on pizzas. Big machines and robots move the cheese along conveyor belts, keeping everything in order. Workers watch the machines carefully to make sure each piece of cheese is shaped correctly. They check for mistakes like uneven slices, broken blocks, or pieces that are too small. Safety and cleanliness are very important. Machines are cleaned all the time, and workers wear clean coats, hair nets, and gloves to keep the cheese free from dirt and germs. Workers check often to make sure everything stays safe to eat. Once the cheese is shaped correctly, labels are added automatically. The labels show the type of cheese, the weight, and other details for customers. Then the cheese is packed into boxes and ready for shipping. Trucks load thousands of boxes and send them to stores, schools, and restaurants. Every step, from shaping to packing, is done carefully so the cheese stays fresh, looks good, and tastes the same as it did in the factory. By being careful at this stage, Kraft makes sure every piece of cheese reaches people safely, ready to eat, and looking as good as it tastes. Before the cheese leaves the factory, it goes through careful checks. Workers take samples from each batch to make sure the cheese tastes right, feels smooth, and is safe to eat. They check the texture to see that it is firm but still creamy, the taste to make sure it is correct, and the color to make sure it looks good. If anything is not right, that batch is fixed or held back. This step makes sure every piece of cheese leaving the factory is the same high quality people expect. Workers also check the machines, packaging, and labels to make sure everything works correctly. Machines that handle the cheese are cleaned and checked all the time to stop mistakes or dirt from getting in. Even small problems, like a label in the wrong place or a box not closing properly, are fixed before the cheese leaves the factory. Finally, the cheese is packed into boxes and loaded onto trucks. Some factories make millions of slices or hundreds of thousands of blocks every day. Hundreds of workers keep everything running smoothly, making sure each box is packed, sealed, and ready for delivery. Trucks take the cheese to stores, restaurants, and homes so people can enjoy it. By carefully checking, packing, and shipping each batch, Kraft makes sure every piece of cheese reaches people fresh, safe, and ready to eat. Kraft cheese is loved all over the world. In the United States, people use it in sandwiches, burgers, and macaroni and cheese. In places like Hawaii, it is often melted on rice or added to local dishes. In South Korea and Guam, families enjoy it in hot sandwiches or melted over baked meals. Some people even give blocks or slices as gifts during holidays because it is so popular and easy to use in the kitchen. The cheese is part of many meals and traditions because it melts well and is simple to use. Schools serve it in lunches, restaurants put it on pizzas, and families use it for quick snacks at home. Kraft has added new flavors and styles like sharp cheddar, smoky, and mild cheese, so everyone can find one they like. Today, there are over 10 flavors and many types, including shredded, sliced, and blocks. Part of why people love it is convenience. Kraft cheese lasts a long time and is easy to store, so people can always have it ready for cooking. It also has protein and calcium, which makes it a helpful part of meals. Fun events, like cheese cooking contests, show how much people enjoy it and use it in their food. Whether melted on a burger, sprinkled on pasta, or used in snacks, Kraft cheese is a favorite all over the world. Its long shelf life, many flavors, and easy use make it a staple in homes everywhere. Have you ever tried Kraft cheese? What's your favorite way to eat it melted on a burger, in a sandwich, or on pasta? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more tasty videos.